Welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a really great and informative safeguarding week and enjoyed the sessions that have been on offer all week. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kat Morrison. I've been working with North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children Partnership as a Policy and Development Officer for about a year. My focus has been the development of our BeAware work, which is focusing on tackling child exploitation. And I'm so happy that so many of you could join us today to officially launch our new updated site. So I'll be taking up about 30 minutes of your time before I hand you over to John for the professional development session. I'll be taking you through the website and its development, starting with the background and the original concept of BeAware, through its development and the consultation work that's occurred, and then I'll take you through some of the site content. And finally, how you can use the site as to help support families and young people across North Yorkshire and raise awareness so we can all tackle child exploitation together. So I'm sure all of you are already aware, but for those of you who may not be, BeAware is already a page on our North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children Partnership website, specifically designed as an online knowledge hub to help tackle and prevent child exploitation in North Yorkshire. The site was launched in March 2021 with a professionals page, and this is a source of key information and resources across our 7 themes of child exploitation. So these are child sexual exploitation, child criminal exploitation, including county lines, contextual safeguarding, harmful sexual behaviour, missing from home and care, modern slavery and child trafficking, and online exploitation. So the website provides professionals with information and resources, including how to spot the signs, what to do if you're concerned about a child, and a range of resources that can be used when working with children and families. So BeAware was launched as part of the North Yorkshire Multi-Agency and Child Exploitation, or MACE strategy. The strategy highlights 4 key strategic priorities which have underpinned our action plan for tackling exploitation in North Yorkshire. Priority 2 focuses on the prevention and engagement of children, young people, parents and carers, and it was agreed that the BeAware Knowledge Hub should be developed using the voices and experiences of young people and families in North Yorkshire, putting children and families at the heart of our work and listening and acting upon their voice. So at this point, I thought it would be really useful to give you a very quick overview of the picture of child exploitation in North Yorkshire. The first and most important thing to highlight is that despite North Yorkshire being a low crime, largely rural county, criminal and sexual exploitation of children happens here too. There is a common misconception that it doesn't happen here and that exploitation is only an issue for larger cities and more urban, densely populated areas, as this is often what's portrayed in the media. Unfortunately, it can happen in all towns and rural areas across North Yorkshire. It affects all communities and children from all walks of life. And now, although children are at risk, and although all children are at risk in ways that criminals target and groom children, it might be slightly different to those living in cities. Children living in the countryside are often more isolated, and the criminals can target this isolation and the boredom and the lack of opportunity by offering excitement, attention and easy money. Criminals may also look to target young people in the country because there's less of a police presence, more unmanned bus and train stations, sparser CCTV, and they take advantage of the misconception that people think exploitation doesn't happen here and they feel people may not be looking for it. We also know exploitation takes place online and in the places and spaces where young people spend their time, often with the two overlapping. Places and spaces where exploitation can happen include bus stations, parks, people's houses, beauty spots, car parks, sports venues, it goes on. And it also happens online through young people being targeted through social media and online gaming. For example, posts that you may glamorise activities such as drug dealing and encouraging people to try cannabis and other substances. It can, however, be quite hidden and the signs can be difficult to spot, and it requires people to be curious. If we see a change in a child's behaviour, we need to understand why that may be happening and not just assume the child's at fault. Most importantly, share and report any concerns. So just to highlight some of the points that we've just mentioned, we asked professionals, young people, parents and carers why we needed to be aware of child exploitation happening across North Yorkshire. This was shared as part of our social media campaign back in March to promote Child Exploitation Awareness Day on our social media platforms. So I'm just going to quickly share the video. It's about 20 or 30 seconds. There's no sound, so don't worry if you can't hear anything. Okay, thank you. Right, so in order to ensure that the information and the messages shared on the website were as relevant and impactful as possible, we designed the website by completing a series of consultations with professionals, but also, more importantly, with young people and parents and carers. So, for example, we completed workshops with the Police, Fire and Crime Commission Youth Forum, youth councils, Parents Against Child Exploitation and the Trusted Relationships Project. We also completed some detached youth work sessions over school holidays in collaborations with partners, where we got the chance to speak with groups of young people about what they felt would be most useful to have on the website. And we also used this as an opportunity to contribute to some of the content and some of the visual aspects of our site as well. So I just wanted to share with you some of the pictures that were produced as part of our youth consultation work. These designs were used to inspire the design concept for our branding and have been used in press releases and our social media content. So, for example, if you look at the cartoon image in the bottom corner, you can see it's been directly taken by from one of the photographs that was produced by one of the young people. So again, just to highlight some of the key points that came out of our consultation process, the main points that parents wanted to see on our site were raising awareness of child exploitation in North Yorkshire, highlighting that it is happening, it's a form of child abuse, and that all young people and families affected by it are victims. Parents wanted us to be really mindful of our language, ensuring that there was no victim blaming in any of our content, and they wanted the possible signs of exploitation to be shown as clearly as possible in a variety of formats, but to also highlight that there are not necessarily definite signs and that sometimes changes in behaviour can be an indicator. Parents are often the first to notice a change and may not recognise that this could be an early sign of exploitation. They also wanted us to show clearly what parents could do if they were worried and where they could go to talk and what help was available. And finally, parents wanted to have an increase in confidence to talk to young people about exploitation and keeping safe, and wanted resources to guide them through some of these conversations. Our young people, and when we had discussions with them, some found it hard to explain what child exploitation actually was and what it looked like. So they wanted clear examples and cases and scenarios to give them a much clearer picture of what it actually was and what it could look like to them. They wanted to know the signs of exploitation, what to look out for, both for them and their mates. They wanted to hear real experiences. They wanted it to be free from all the professional jargon. And they didn't want to be told what not to do, but more wanted practical bits of advice to follow that could help them keep safe when out and about with friends, to reduce the risk of exploitation. So just to have a look at some of our web pages and content, this is our new site. Unfortunately, my technological skills, I can't take you through the site live, but I'm just going to show you some of the content. So showing you the home page, those of you who knew and used the previous BeAware, you'll notice we've got a new rebrand, we've got new images and logos, which again have been developed in consultation with the young people. And we have specific entry points, each designed with content and information for each group. On our homepage, we also have an I Need Help Now button, which directs users straight to the North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children's Partnership Worried About a Child page, which clearly shows what you can do if you have immediate concerns and how to make a referral for support. So just going to spend a little bit of time taking you through some of the content of the specific pages. So if we start with the young people's page, all of our pages have specific entry points. Now, these take you to the sections covering the key points identified as what young people wanted to know. So we have what is exploitation anyway, what are the signs, what help is out there, and how do I keep safe? Like I said before, unfortunately, I can't scroll you through the site content, but that's where you can go afterwards and spend a little bit of time familiarising yourself with the website. But to take you through some of the key elements of the content, our information is presented in a variety of formats. So we've got text, we've got stories, images and videos, and we also share key information from some of the national resources that are out there, which highlight the important messages. There's so much information and content out there around child exploitation, and BeAware isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about collating those key messages into the context of North Yorkshire, so young people can easily access what they need to know quickly and easily. It explains what child exploitation is without using jargon, and that includes the different types of child exploitation: criminal, sexual, online exploitation, for example. But also, more importantly for young people, it explains what that can actually look like to them and their friends. It explains why people are so concerned about it and why it's an issue by demonstrating the impacts it can have on young people and those around them. And throughout the content, we have comments and quotes from young people who've shared their experiences and stories. Now, we think this brings real meaning and power to the information that's shared throughout the site by directing it back to real experiences of those who've been directly affected. So just an example here, we've got a quote from a young person who shared their story, and he says, "Because when you're in that life, you just keep going around in circles. So like if you stopped, then you started again. And then when you started again, you were smoking again. And then when you were smoking, you were just smoking all your profits. You're not making any money whatsoever. It's just stupid." Some of the other key elements for the young people's page is that we have really clear explanations of some of the signs of exploitation. Often we know, however, that when a young person is being groomed or exploited, by the very nature of the relationship the perpetrator builds with that young person, the signs are very difficult to spot. So we've shared what those signs can look like in friends and what it may feel like to be groomed or exploited. You know, for example, for a young person, it may not feel scary or that something wrong is happening. It can feel exciting and special. Young people can often think that they have control in these situations and that they are getting what they want out of the relationship. And to highlight this point further, we've also included a section around healthy relationships, sharing key resources and messages around what healthy and unhealthy relationships can look and feel like. And we've included links to interactive resources and quizzes young people can take if they're not sure about how their relationship is going, you know, be that with a friend, someone who they're chatting to online, or a boyfriend or girlfriend. And we also have a section for young people which details clearly what help is available to them, right from being in immediate danger and dialing 999 to tips on how to start a conversation with a trusted adult if they're worried about someone or something or themselves. And we have a list of local and national support services, websites, text, social media services that young people can access at any time to gain further information and support. Finally, on our young people's page, we have a section with information, advice and ideas about how to keep safe, either when they're out and about with friends or spending time online. Again, the information isn't about telling young people what not to do, but offering practical advice about ways they can still be out and about, still having fun, but being aware of some of the signs of exploitation and keeping safe. There's also a section here about running away. We know young people who run away can be targeted by perpetrators of exploitation. So again, it highlights the risks and includes some key points on keeping safe. Our parents and carers pages, again, have the specific entry points based on what parents and carers across North Yorkshire told us what they wanted to know. So we've got what is exploitation, what are the signs, what help is out there, and importantly in this bit is what parents themselves can do to help, and how do I talk to my child about exploitation. Just to take you through again some of the key elements, we're sharing the information in a variety of formats, offering clear explanations, free from jargon. We're using voices from parents and carers' real experiences to highlight what exploitation can really look and feel like, not just to young people, but to those around them who are also the victims. So we've got a quote here from a mum. She was talking about her son who was being criminally exploited, and she says, because these people that he was hanging around with, he thought they were his friends, but they were just getting him to do stuff for them. On the parent and carer pages, we also share key messages around exploitation, the process of grooming and what this can look like, highlighting the signs that exploitation may be happening in young people, but also to understand again that it's not an exhaustive list, and parents know their children better than anyone, and changes to behaviour can also be a sign. Some may just consider it as, you know, you've just been a normal teenager and being grumpy and pushing the boundaries, and it's about understanding that there may be reasons behind that behaviour. It's about empowering parents about the things they can do to tackle exploitation. Now, just to add in a caveat here, this isn't in any way about blaming parents about things that they may or may not be doing. It's much more about increasing awareness for parents. Knowledge can be power, and the more we all know, the more chance we can disrupt perpetrators at the earliest stage. There's a clear section of the national and local offers for help for parents and carers and what this support can look and feel like. And finally, there's a section about having conversations with young people about exploitation. Now, parents have conversations with their kids all the time around safety, you know, be that road safety or drug safety. But a recent study by PACE found that parents lacked the confidence and information to be able to have conversations with their children around exploitation and keeping safe. Now, we're hoping this whole site can be used as a resource to support these conversations. But this section goes through tips and tricks about having early conversations, for example, about healthy relationships and online safety, right through to having a conversation with your child if you're worried that they might be being exploited. On both of our young people and parents and carers pages, we have two additional sections. The first is our stories from our county. This is a section of the site that shows the stories and experiences of young people and families who have experienced exploitation in North Yorkshire. Now, we're hoping that this will be a growing format for people to share in whatever way they'd like their stories to highlight what exploitation can look like here. So currently we have a video extract from an interview with a son and a mother, as well as some amazing lyrics that have been written by a young person. So I'm just going to try and present the video, if you just bear with me. So I'll just show you the first couple of minutes of the video, and then the full amount can be seen on the website.
So basically, I was about 12. I started hanging around with people that I shouldn't have been. And then I got to about 13. And then I started smoking weed and like started doing other drugs. Then it ended up just getting a bit too much. I thought it was a good thing to do at the time because like nobody my age were making the money that I was making. But at the same time, like, is it really worth it? Because I ended up getting a bad name from the police and everything. It was a bit of money, but at the end of the day, that money's just going back into your habits. Because when you're in that life, you just keep going around in circles. So, like, if you stopped, then you started again. And then when you started again, you were smoking again. And then when you're smoking, you're just smoking all your profits away. So you're not making no money whatsoever. So yeah. It's just stupid. 2020, I got arrested for possession with a knife. I just realised like there's nothing to do anymore. Like I realised how stupid my mistake was when like I got arrested because I was holding that knife. I just stopped on all the that I was doing because when I was meeting with Darren, he said to me, "What are you earning from this?" I stopped smoking weed about two years ago, and I stopped fully, and I've not smoked weed since. And they come up to you and they say, "Why are you carrying this?" And I just said some people were after me. When I said that, there was like, who? And I said, I don't know. You know, because word on the streets is that you can't talk shit about anyone, to be honest. And if you do, then it's not going to end well for you. So I was just stuck. That's all I was. I was stuck, and then I realised like this is a chance to get out. So I took the chance when I could. The best thing for me to do as a trusted relationships worker is to work with someone that is stuck in the cycle, or having tried with like exploitation or exposure to like gang violence or anything like that, because I know more about it than someone like, for instance, a Simon's age, or like an older person, a younger person. Yeah, or so someone they'd relate more to a younger person than they would to like they don't know anything.
Yeah.
But if I tell them like my story and how everything happened with me, I think they'd be able to listen and like understand more. There's no point in doing it, because what are you actually earning from it? Come work for me, I'll give you this. So obviously my mind thought, oh, when you're young, you want as much money as you want, don't you?
Yeah.
And you just think, oh, nobody can touch me, I'm this, that and the other. But trust me, people can touch you, like especially the police as well, not just.
So that's just the first part of the video there. If you find on the website, it continues, and we hear the same story from the mum's perspective as well, which is really powerful and gives a really good story of what exploitation can look like in North Yorkshire. So just finally, as part of our content on our website, we also have a jargon buster page. Now, this page aims to provide a really clear overview of the language that is used when we talk about exploitation, be it the language professionals use or the language and slang used by young people and perpetrators. It links to some great national resources that are already out there. So, for example, the Children's Society Slang and Emoji Dictionary, as well as a reference list of terms. Now, I just want to add in here just really quickly while we're talking about language and exploitation that we do have a recently added new resource onto BeAware Professionals section to promote the use of positive language. It's been created to help practitioners consider the words and phrases and jargon that we may use when we're speaking to and about young people experiencing exploitation. So it encourages consideration of the impact our language can have for children and young people, as well as parents and carers affected by exploitation, and asks us to consider whether we are using victim blaming language or only considering a single story about that young person. This includes not just in our verbal language, but also in anything that we are writing, be it case notes, statements, assessments. So this pack is a collation of key documents produced across the partnership. It's a tool to help prompt our discussion and reflection about our own use of language and the impacts it can have. So I'll just make sure there's a link in the chat to direct you to that if you're interested. Finally, just from kind of some of our initial discussions, we decided to include an additional page on BeAware designed for residents, communities and local businesses across North Yorkshire. So as mentioned before, when I was talking about exploitation and what it looks like in North Yorkshire, it is happening here, and it's happening in the places and spaces where young people are spending their time away from the family home. We know that safeguarding is everyone's responsibility, and we must recognise that child exploitation is a form of abuse and must be reported in the same way that any other concerns about the welfare of children are. Now, a huge part of this is raising awareness of the signs of exploitation and what it can look like in our communities, be that in the day as well as the night. There's also a section with information linked to businesses across North Yorkshire, business areas that we know the perpetrators can target, you know, for example, our nighttime economy like bars and hotels, but also businesses that may be seeing young people in their contextual spaces, you know, taxi companies, banking, travel and delivery services. Again, the businesses mentioned are not an exhaustive list, and we would encourage the promotion of the BeAware resources right across North Yorkshire, in our libraries, in our parks, in our community centres, notice boards, supermarkets, anywhere. So we want the BeAware website to be a source of information for everyone in North Yorkshire, be that professionals, residents, communities, business owners, parents and carers and young people. And we hope the site will be used in numerous ways, but here are some suggestions. Firstly, the site can be used to raise awareness of child exploitation across North Yorkshire, be that displaying our posters, and our partner briefing pack I'll make sure are included in our chat. But yeah, we want posters displayed across public areas or promoting our social media messages. The more we get the message out there, the more people we can share the information with. We want the website to be a tool to start the conversation, whether that be a professional conversation in, for example, a team meeting, looking at what you're doing as a team to tackle exploitation, whether it's a conversation between a professional and someone they may be worried about, or a parent wanting to gain some confidence about talking to their children about exploitation and keeping safe. It can be used as a tool to be used in schools, youth and community groups to get young people talking together about exploitation and what it looks like to them, recognising the signs and where they would turn if they were worried. It can be used as a tool for professionals working alongside families and offering support, can offer guidance and resources for the professionals to talk through some of the key issues, for example, looking at the scenarios and what they would do in that situation and where they will go for help. We hope the website can also be a source of support for families and young people who are worried, but concerned that they may be victimised or blamed if they seek support. Hopefully the information and voices shared will show families that they're not alone and that support and guidance is there for them. And as mentioned before, the site will be continually growing and developing. We hope that working alongside communities, families and young people may provide an opportunity to develop our content. A family may want to share their story, or a young person may want to produce a piece of artwork about their experiences. A school, youth or community group may want to complete some TikTok or photography about the signs of exploitation and ways to keep safe. The possibilities are endless and we can't wait to see what people will want to add to build our website even further. I'll make sure my contact details are in the chat and I'm more than happy to talk with any of you about supporting any sessions, developing any content or meeting with any groups or teams about the promotion or use of our website. So now we go over to you. Now I've given you an overview of the website and the content. The only way we're going to get the messages out is by getting you guys to spread the word. So I'll attach in the chat the partner briefing pack, which can be promoted across the teams. I'll also attach the link for our poster, which again, we could encourage, if we can encourage people to print and share as far and wide as possible. We've also got resources like email banners, Teams backgrounds and things like that, which you can again use to promote. And we've got a wealth of social media posts, which again we've put as part of the briefing pack, and we'd love these to be shared across social media far and wide. Next week, if you follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, we'll be posting content every day promoting the website, so share as much as possible. So now finally, what I'd like you to add really quickly into the chat is one thing that you are going to do to either promote or use the website. So be it display a poster on your notice board, follow North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children Partnership on our social media channels and share our social media posts. Tell your colleagues or your friends and family about the website or work with a group on some content development. So yeah, if you would like to add to the chat, that would be really great. And then finally, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me today. I can't wait for you all to spend a bit of time looking at the website. And of course, we really do welcome any feedback or comments or suggestions. It is an ever developing site. If there's any questions that have popped up in the chat or anything that you want to add now, please feel free to ask, or I'll put my email on the chat and you can send it at the end of the session. Thank you.
Cap, we've just got one question in the chat from Kerry. Can anyone access the BeAware site?
Absolutely, yes. So we'll put the link on the chat, but we would definitely recommend it's promoted to anybody as far and wide as possible. So it's not just for professionals, it can be for young people, parents and carers. I know I've been sharing it with some of my friends. You know, we've all got children who are at that sort of transitional age moving into secondary school, and they've been asking me about the work and what I've been doing. And they plan on using it just to learn about exploitation and what it is and how they can talk to their kids about it.